has a BA in biology and analyze life. He enjoys working with technology to serve newer students. So please join me in welcoming Rob.
Yeah. This is a much larger audience than I anticipated. I did not print out enough handouts. I did not print out any handouts. That's okay. This is my handout. So I've been collecting. That's the right one. I've been collecting holy cow, little hacks and tricks to get around some of the limitations in LibGuides. So I could do some things that are not built into the system. I'm pretty sure one of our vendors today. Okay. How's this microphone? That is not. Okay, I'm gonna use this one then. All right. So one of the latest things that I've started doing. I've got in this little box on the left side of the screen here, one of the irritations that have always bothered me about LibGuides is that the title of the guide is always followed by a colon and the name of the page. As you can see here, do-it-yourself LibGuide enhancements, colon, home. I've never liked that because I have a few single page guides and it always looked funny. So I finally found a way around it. And yeah, here's an example of how I implemented that. Got rid of the colon and I got rid of the page title. So it's kind of a two-step process. The first thing you do is to get rid of the page name. And you go back and go into the editing mode. Why? I was just in here yesterday. Page properties here. So one of the things I found out is that you cannot just leave the page name blank. You can't just stick a space in the page name field and save it. It won't let you do that either. But what you can do is you can put in the HTML code for a non-breaking space. That's ampersand NBSP semicolon. Normally you would use that if you want to stick it between words that you don't want to break at the end of a line when it wraps around a new line. But in this case, it does let me put that in there, and when I save it, so you can see here, the page name is blank. But the other thing I did, involves this little piece of JavaScript here that you can copy and paste into a file. That's just going to be a text file. There we go. And a text file is just, let me close this. It's just letters and numbers and characters and spaces and carriage returns. So you can just copy that. Just realizing that my mouse is just sliding down this podium. That's what keeps doing odd things. Right. So this is a plain old text file. I'm doing this in Windows Notepad. If you use a Mac, I believe it's text edit does the same thing on Macs. Just save it, give it a file name that ends with .js. In my case, I just called it colonectomy.js. That was actually the original title of this presentation before I was asked to think of another name. Realizing we should have kept that open in a separate tab. So let me just pop back into the editing mode here. So if you're in the LibGuides administrative screen, I'm going to look and feel, do a custom JavaScript and CSS, and at the bottom there's a little place where you can upload your own scripts and things, and just click on that upload new file, and there's colonectomy.js that I already have there. And make note of this. Whoops. You'll need to stick that somewhere on the page. Copy that. And I created a separate box to stick that line in. You don't have to put it in a separate box. I don't even remember why I put it in a separate box, because I could put it in with the other code, but so that line I just copied, I just pasted into here. It went into a box. I made a floating box, so there's no border around it. I made the background white, so it blends the background, so you don't actually see it. See, invisible. And that's all you have to do. Just now when you load the page, it finds that colon, it replaces it with nothing. Let's see if this thing works. There we go. So that's the main header on the page. It just finds that first colon and replaces that colon with whatever's in between those quote marks, which in this case is nothing. So it's just this little blank spot. By the way, the rest of this page has other basics for like uploading your script files and things like that. So you can read this at your leisure. I want to point out also, if you're new to editing, CSS and HTML files, I've got some basic concepts for you to familiarize yourself with. I may as well take you into this third tab. If you ever have a need to put a table on your LibGuide that you can sort, there's some more complicated. I should just be looking at the screen because it's very disoriented. So yeah, so you can, we used to have a version of this on our course reserves page that allows you to sort it. But anyway, it's a little bit too complicated to cover today, because this is what that script looks like. So yeah, look at that on your own if that interests you. But a couple other things in the short time I have left, I wanted to show you. One is the how to do a hanging indent. So we all have to teach people how to cite things, and of course, as you know, citation formats usually call for a hanging indent where the very first line is all the way to the margin and everything else gets pushed back. The tricky part about doing that on a web page is that you never know how big the screen is or how big the column is going to be. So I figured out a way how to make the thing wrap automatically and still maintain the correct format. So this one's even easier. It doesn't require any JavaScript. It's just style code. It just pushes everything out a little bit, and then it pulls that first line back a little bit, and you do have to edit your HTML a little bit, but all it really is putting this little class hanging indent at the beginning. Briefly mention the definition list or the description list. I've heard it called both things. This is like a standard HTML list. I don't know why it's not built into LibGuides, but it's a handy thing. You can put like a term and you can put a definition next to it. And this is basically what I did for this. It's literally definitions. And to fulfill what I said in the description for this session, I've also want to point out this trick that I didn't invent, but is recommended by those who are interested in website accessibility. So one of the things that they really recommend against doing it whenever you can is opening links in new windows. And that's because it can be kind of disorienting if, so you click on a link, it opens a new tab, opens a new window. If you're visually impaired, you can't tell that you're like not in the same tab anymore, or if you can't use a mouse, now your back button doesn't work anymore, so that makes things a little more complicated. So really do try to avoid opening new tabs if you really can. But if you really, really, really must, they do recommend that you put some kind of notification to at least warn people that you're doing it. You may have seen like a little message that says open new tab or a little symbol. But this way is a way to do that without making like an obvious note that kind of throws off the flow of your text. And this only opens the opens new window message when you're actually either hovering over the link or if you have to use a keyboard or the tab key to get to the different links. It'll open up like that when the link is the active thing on the screen. And this is also cool because this also does not require any scripts. You can just copy this into your custom CSS. Ignore that for a second. So you'd be pasting it into this thing. Do not let this frighten you. I've had a very long time to be adding stuff to this. But somewhere in there is that code that you can stick in there. And then just follow these directions for how you can mark, put tags in there that make this thing active. Yeah. So, and you can look at some of these others if you are interested in. I first did this presentation 5 years ago, and so these are under attack. Just some new tricks I've added. Any questions? You all look stunned. I really should. I know. I have not done it yet. I know there's a community that I can contribute this to, and I've made suggestions to LibGuides for things to SpringShare in the past, and their responses. I really should. I should let the past discourage me.